All right, this is going to be a tutorial on how to make a needle wallet. I'll show you what that is. So it has a button. You can open it up, and here you have a place you can keep all your needles and a little pocket for your buttons. See? And then a place to keep thread and a place to put a little pair of sewing scissors. So this is what we're going to be learning today. All right, you should have in your paper bag, in your packet, you should have some thread. You'll only have a little piece. I won't need this much. You should have 2 buttons. And then you should have 4 pieces of felt in different colors. Okay? For right now, you can set aside the 2 little scrappy pieces. And then you should have 2 pieces that are about the same size. If one is definitely smaller than the other one, then that's going to be the piece you cut up. But if they're about the same size, you can choose which color you want to be your background and which color you want to be your pieces on the inside, like this, your green pieces like this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is cut out 2 rectangles like this to go in here and hold all the pockets and things. I'm going to use the dark blue for my background because my 2 pieces are almost exactly the same size. So I'm going to set that aside for now. So now I'm just going to cut this. First I'm going to cut it in half. Okay. And then you can see that they're still too big, really. So I'm going to trim them just a little bit all the way. Well, I could do it all the way around in a circle, but instead I'm just going to do it like this. Cut a little off the side, cut a little off the top, so you have a nice little patch. And it's not exactly perfect and square, and that is fine. And then I'll just make the other one the same size, see? Okay, so now I have 2 nice little patches in contrasting color to go inside. All right. Okay, so the next part we're going to do is make the little pockets to go on, these little pockets. You're going to take one of your 2 pieces. Obviously, this piece is too small to make pockets out of. So I'm going to use this piece to make my pockets out of. And I need 2 large size pockets here. So I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to make 2 pockets about the same size. All right. How do these fit on here? Yep, pretty good. One there and one there. Okay. Before we can sew these on, we have to put a button on this one. So get your needle, get your button, and get some thread. All right, you're going to thread your needle. And then tie a knot in the end. If you don't know how to tie a knot in the end, I will show you. I'm licking my finger, which you can't see off camera. All right, and then you wrap that around just like that. See, where's the camera? Right there. And then just roll it with your thumb and pull it down, and it makes a knot. Okay? Now, you're going to take your button and center it on this piece, and then stick your needle through from the back. I think you know how to sew buttons, but I could be wrong. And then just stitch that on a couple of times. Try to get it right in the middle. Okay? And then turn it over. And here's how you tie the knot. If you can see that little tiny piece of thread right there, slide your needle under there. It's okay if it picks up a little of the felt too. Pull it through until you have a loop in your thread, stick your needle through your loop, pull that, and then hold this loop aside and pull tight. Whoops. So you have another loop. Put your needle through that one, and then pull that whole thing tight. And now you can trim it off. There you go. Button. Okay. Now we can stitch this piece on. So you're going to tie another knot. Start from the back of the blue piece so your knots don't show. There you go. And then we're just going to do a running stitch. If you don't know what that is, so you're going to stick your needle down in and then push it back up. See? And just do that a couple of times and just kind of hold everything in place with your other hand. See that? Now you can just pull your needle straight through. Haha. There. And I've made a nice fat running stitch down the side. And just do that all the way around. Uh-oh, see my thing tied in a little knot. That's okay. I'm just going to go back and pull that up. You can see my threads just got tangled, and then it'll be fixed. Make sure you don't catch the tail in what you're sewing. Now, these are pockets, so we're not going to sew the top shut because then you wouldn't be able to use your pocket. All right. Now, I'm going to stick this down through, but I'm not going to cut it off yet because the next thing we need to do now, if it's puckered like mine, is just pull it a little bit until it straightens out. And the next thing we need to do is put the flap. So this is where we're going to take our gray piece or whatever your other color is and cut a little flap. Let's see. And I don't want it to be quite that wide. I'm going to cut it in half this way. Make a little narrow. Oh no, it's not big enough. Do it again. Okay. It's okay. That's why I gave you hopefully enough. So I'm not going to cut it quite in half. I'm going to cut a little less off of it this time. Here we go. That's better. All right, so you're going to take your flap and put it right on top. Find where your button is, and then you can feel it right through there, and then pinch it up so that you're folding it right where the button's going to go. And then you take your scissors and you cut a slit right there. See? And now you can button your flap on, supposedly. There we go. All right, so get that on, lay it down how you want it. Lay that down nice and flat, and then take your needle and poke it up through the bottom. I did it here already. Poke it through. So, see, you haven't cut it off from the pink. You just pushed it right up through. And then you just do a nice running stitch across the top of that and tie it off. Don't jam the needle under your fingernail because that will hurt. That's what I almost just did. and you're tying this one off. You can see that there's no little stitch right next to it, so you just go to the nearest one and you slide your needle under. Like I said, it's okay if it picks up a little felt. Until you have a loop, you put your needle through, and then you pull that loop tight. See? And then put your needle through that loop, and then pull everything nice and tight. Okay, and you can trim it off. And you can go trim off your other end too if you want. There. So, button pocket. Now we're going to put the other pocket on, which is done just the same way as the first one, except for no button and no flap. So, tie your knot again. And start in one corner and go around. And you'll notice as you look at mine that it's okay if your stitches are not exactly the same size, and if they're wobbly and don't go in a perfect straight line. It kind of makes the whole thing look more more cool, more handcrafted and neat. Of course, it is handcrafted, so it should look like that, huh? All right. Come on. Okay. And now, stretch that one out. And we can tie that one off. See, my thread picked up a little felt right there, but that's okay. Look, my scissors are magnetized and they picked up my needle. All right. Okay, before we can attach our nice little patch that we just made, we need to put a button on the outside of this and cut a button tab on this side. So first we're going to fold this like this. Fold it in half the long way. Now go to the open edge, not the folded edge, and we're going to cut ourselves a little button tab. We're going to cut a little bit. Make sure you leave enough here, maybe just a little more. Okay, and then cut that off. See? So we have that. Now, if you want to make your button tab a little smaller, or if you want to round it, you could do that. If you want to make it perfectly even, fold it back in half again, and then cut both pieces together so that they're the same shape. Let's see here. That's pretty nice. I like that. And then cut your slit for where your button's going to go. And there's your buttonhole, see? Now, let's make sure our patches both still fit on here. I think they will. Yes, they will. Okay. So now, you're going to take this piece and fold it like that. Fold. Actually, I like to put all the pieces inside because it's going to be fat when it's folded. So you want to make sure you get on the right spot. So fold this over and then mark where your button needs to go to fit your slit. It's going to go right here. I'm going to put my pin in there so I remember where it is. Okay? Take those out. Now, if you want to make it cute and fancy, take one of your pieces. I'm going to use my pink because I think I'm going to need both my pieces of gray. And cut out a circle first I'm going to make it a square, and then I'm going to round the edges and make it like a circle. There you go. Circular-ish. If you want it more round, keep going till it's as round as you want it. Okay, next your button is going to go right in the middle of that, see? And then that is going to go right here where your pin was. Okay, I think pin that back down so it doesn't get lost. Now I'm going to need to rethread my needle. I already tied a knot in it because I threaded it once and then took it back out. But you guys didn't see that. All right, so there it is. Threaded. Everything's in place. Pull it out. Put your button where you want it. And then from underneath, just sew that on. And when we sew the patches on, it will cover these stitches that you're making. No one will see them. Your knots will be hidden inside. See, it looks cute. Sew this one on pretty good because it's the one that's going to get used the most often, opening and closing the wallet. There we go. Okay. There it is, sewn on. Here's your buttonhole. Hooray. I have made my buttonhole too big. Oh no. What shall I do? Well, I can stitch it closed with some cute stitches if I want to. See, there it is. So since it's too big, I will fix that in a bit. So be careful when you cut your buttonhole that you don't cut it too big. Okay, tie your knot. Go, trim your ends. Oh no, my knot is coming undone. No! Okay. Alright, I'm going to fix this buttonhole I made that's too big. I'm just going to take my thread over here and starting from the inside, I'm just going to make a couple little stitches across the end, across each end, so that it's tighter. That's all. And my knot will show a little bit on the inside, but I'll trim it down so it doesn't show too much. And this will also reinforce my buttonhole a little bit, so it's a little stronger. All right, so there's some stitches there. Tie those off, and then do the other side. Okay, there's that. Don't cut yourself, that would be a bad idea. Like I almost did. Get your fingers out of the way. All right, do the other side, and then hopefully that'll fix my buttonhole issues. Okay, start from the inside again. And then just one more. Tie that off. Oh, what happened? Alright, trim that. Well, let's see if that works better now for my button. It looks like it will. There we go. Now my button's not always going to be popping out. Okay, very nice. So now we're going to take this patch that we made and we're going to put it in here. But first, we need a 3x5 or those index cards I put in your file. You need your index card. And this one I have trimmed already. You need to trim it so it's a little bit smaller than your piece. Look, I can see this is going to sort of run into it. I'm going to trim that just a little more. There we go. There, now I can see blue all the way around the edges, which is what I want. And make the other one to fit this one. Let's see. Might just cut off a little more right here. There. Okay, put those ones away. So now we're going to set this down for a minute right here, but don't get rid of it. Keep it close. And we are going to start sewing this patch on. Tie a knot in my thread. Okay. Now, you don't want to start from the outside like this, because then your knot will show on the outside. So we're going to start in the corner of the patch, okay? Like that. Now, lay this down. Tuck your ends under there. Okay, lay this down so it covers up where the knots from sewing on the button. And then we're going to do a running stitch again. Very easy across. Ah, I pulled it too tight. Oh no. Relax. All right, there we go. Now, when you come to your circle, you could choose to sew through it or you could choose to skip it. I'm choosing to put my needle through just the blue and leave the pink free. I just like how that looks, but it doesn't matter. You can do it how you like it. So we've got down to this corner. We need to go around the corner, and then I'm about to run out of thread, so I will show you how to tie off my knot underneath so that it doesn't show. So do a few more stitches here. Don't lose the thread. Okay, now we want to tie this so that the knot doesn't show. So pull this up a little bit, and you can see that little stitch right there. And we're going to tuck under that. Whoops, I forgot a step. I'm going to rethread my needle. There we go. I forgot. You want to stick this back through this light blue thread, or light blue patch. There we go. Now you can see the little stitch right there. See, stick your needle through, pull it up, and tie your knot, just like we've been doing. Mine is arguing with me. Where's my loop? There it is. Ooh, I left this till the thread was almost too short. There we go. Tie that off. Trim it. You can go back and trim your first one if you want to. Now we're going to take our piece of index card and slide it in there. See? So that it's all the way in and doesn't show. It gives this a little bit of body so it doesn't, it's not floppy like this one. So it's just tucked in there against all the stitches, top and bottom. And if your thing is looking a little wrinkly, like before, just stretch it until it lays down. Okay, I'm going to rethread my needle and then we'll finish sewing around. There, my needle is rethreaded. I'm going to stick it up through here and finish sewing all the way around this while keeping this index card tucked in there. So here we go. Here we go, around the last corner. Almost done. Okay. All right. So we're back to where we started from. We have this little bit sticking out, so we're going to tuck that in with our needle. We're going to put our needle back through there, tie a knot on the inside like I showed you before, and keep this little end tucked under. See how I did that? Just like that. And then tie your knot. There we go. And then trim that. And then look, my ends are sticking out a little bit, so, oh no, they're not going to tuck in. Ah, sad. I'm going to have ends sticking out on mine, I guess. There, or if you want to, you could tuck them in and like glue that down with a dot of glue or something. And then that won't show. So that's one side, all sewn on. Here's how the front looks now. Very cute. And you can button it, even if you had to fix your buttonhole like I did. There, okay. Half done. So let's work on the other side. Now I'm going to take my other blue patch, and on this one I need to make a piece to put my needles through, which will be this piece. So if you don't have a piece that shape already, it doesn't have to be quite that long, but you want like a rectangular piece right here. So if you don't have one, cut one. I'm going to try to make mine a little more square along the top. Oh, now I just made it crooked the other way. Well, okay, I'm going to have crooked, I guess. And then we need to make a little pocket down here. So I'm going to take, I have some of these pink scraps left over. And you want it to be big enough to put some of those little sewing safety scissors in it. So I'm going to make mine, let's see, how am I going to cut this? I guess about like that. Straighten off this edge. Like that. And then we're going to stitch that on there, and your little scissor blades will tuck right in there. Okay, so we'll start with the gray piece. Put that pink one aside for a minute. Put this up here. And just stitch it across the top. Very simple. Okay. See, mine just has 3 little stitches across the top. That's fine. You just want to be able to lift that up and down. And then tie a knot and trim it off. Now we're going to sew on our little pocket. Tie a knot in our thread, of course. Sew on our little pocket and make sure we don't sew the top shut. That would be something I would do. I like to have these kind of lined up along the bottom. See? But it doesn't really matter. You just have to leave space for your whole scissor to fit. If you put it like up here, your scissors will stick out of the top of your thing. All right. Mine's a little crooked. That's okay. Crooked is fine. So I've tied my knot under here, but it looks like my end is going to show like it did on this one a little bit. So on this side I can fix that, not have the end show by sticking my needle like down. I folded my pocket back a little bit. I'm going to stick my needle down over here. Pull that down. See, now it's coming out of the back here. And I can cut it off. And you won't see it. Now it's inside the pocket and it won't show. Okay, now we're going to sew this pocket on. Make sure it's going the same side up as this pocket. And we have our other piece of index card we're going to use in a few minutes. So, I'm running out of thread again on this one. I know I only gave you a limited amount of thread, so let me show you a trick. If you start running out of thread, this embroidery floss separates. So you could take 3 and 3, and then you'll have twice as much thread. So if you start running out, if you think you're not going to have enough, you can do that, and then you'll have more thread to use. Here we go. We're going to sew one side of this down. And when this patch is sewed on, we'll be done. I'm going to tie my thread here again. Oops, needle came off. That's okay. Just use your fingers, stick it through, pull it tight. Now I'm gonna trim it, stick it in there so it doesn't stick out. I will rethread my needle and keep going. think I will rethread my needle. There we go. Rolling it with my thumb, and then pulling it down to make a knot. There we go. Oh, this thread is super tangly today. Okay, starting right here. Tuck that end in. Go in end. Okay, we've done one side and the bottom. So I'm going to take my index card now and stick it in there, slide it in, and then finish stitching. And then this whole thing will be done. Yay! All right, we're on the home stretch. Just a few more stitches. Yeah, just a couple more here. Oops. Last one, we don't want it to go all the way through, just through the light blue patch. Okay, tie our knot. There it is. And then this is what I should have done on the other side to show you. If you don't want your ends to stick out like they're doing here, maybe those little ends stick out, tuck your needle underneath without going through anything. Mine went under my paper. Let's see. Now I can't do it to show you what I mean, of course. Okay, there we go. So it's sticking through, and now I'm just going to poke it out. See right here, underneath here? Pull it. See how it hides? That hides my end. Now it's coming out over here, but that's okay. I trim it off right there. And then, now you can't see it, see? And eventually, I could work it through until it disappears, or I could trim it a little closer. Yeah, there we go. And now the end is gone. And now you have made a complete needle wallet that you can fill with needles and thread and buttons and little scissors. Mine doesn't want a button today. You can carry it in your wallet, or well, maybe not your wallet. You can carry it in your backpack or your purse. You could take it on the airplane with you. And it's super cute. And there it is.